Are we live?
We are
Oh,
live.
we are
Audrey, we're
live.
live. Thank you so much for connecting today. I'm so happy to be spending the next 45 minutes to an hour with you.
Yes, I am very happy too. Thank you, Seb, and welcome everyone. So I think I just have to say that there's something weird in LinkedIn Live because actually we don't see you who
Yeah,
are connecting you, to see the live, to listen to what we want to tell you today. So yeah, it's a bit weird, but we are very happy to be here and to talk about something that is very important to us with Seb. And maybe, Seb, we can start by presenting us a little bit for
yes.
people to know why I call you my partner in crime.
Please, you go first.
I go first. Okay. So Seb and I, we are leadership coaches. We are, I start with both, but then I will introduce myself a little bit more. So we are international coaches. We are also francophone. We both speak French. I am French, but we work a lot in English. We work everywhere. We work internationally, and we work a lot on leadership. This is really a topic that is common to most of our clients. Who are like very high performers, high achievers, very frequently like C-level people or executive people or like high managers. And yes, so I'm calling from Paris today, and I'm
Amazing.
really happy to be here and to talk about leadership with Seb. And Seb,
Fantastic. What
tell
an
me,
opportunity. Thank you so
yes,
much. We have people coming in, so we're saying hello to Faisal. I hope you saw the comment, Audrey. He's saying hello,
yes,
Audrey. Please to
I
meet
see
you.
comments now, and I see pictures of people. So yeah,
Amazing. We
it's
have
better.
June as well. Hi, June. Thanks so much for connecting.
Yeah.
So I'm Seb, certified leadership coach as well. I'm connecting from London today, but I'm normally based in Zurich in Switzerland, originally from Geneva. So I'm also a French speaker, and we are excited to be preparing the second module of this incredible live on Thursday, which would be in French. But for today, it's in English for all the amazing English speakers that are joining us around the world. And I think, Audrey, we can just dive in immediately and start talking about this amazing topic, which is performing versus leading, or should I say leading versus performing.
Yes, you can say both, of course, and this is different. Definitely, two things that we're going to talk about, but also, the what we have been adding in the title is like complexity and like in a complex and disruptive world. So actually, this topic is very important to us because what we see in our clients and also for ourselves, because we get to be also performers, is that performers, have been performing since their childhood. Getting good marks, getting to good universities, or trying to be the best everywhere. And because this is actually what society is asking us, companies are also asking that from people, and it works very well. Actually, we perform. We are seen as people able to lead other people's, able to lead projects. But then at a moment, we see that this model of like performing all the time doesn't work anymore, or that something is missing from this pattern. And this is what we want to address today. What's there?
Yeah, and I think what's coming up for me now as we're speaking is that, I think most of us are so conscious that this model is no longer working, that it has kind of reached its limits now in this world of constant change, fast development, and all that. But for some weird reason, we keep, applying the same model. And
Yes.
an open question that I have is, why do we still do that? Why do we
Mm.
still follow a model that is no longer working.
Yes, but the tricky thing is that it works in a way because it led us to the place we are. But the thing is that we realize, and you know that also because we've been through this process of working a lot on our leadership, Seb. This is why we are here today. There's this moment where actually we don't know how to do differently. We
Yeah.
don't know how to behave differently. What could work differently if what I've actually been trying all the time was working until today? And as you say, now that we live in a world like evolving all the time, very very complex. This is what the army calls like VUCA world, like volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So this acronym is here to tell us that everything changes so fast every day that it's now very complicated to be doing the same thing all the time, to face a complexity that is like way faster than what we are used to actually.
Yeah, and I would even add faster than what we can achieve, right?
Yes.
As humans. So I really feel that we are still trying to respond to a system that forces us to compete
Mhm.
against each other, but now against AI. And we've been so conditioned to follow that pattern because we've learned that we are rewarded, right, when we perform better, or that we feel more valued when the results are higher. And but now we are, as we were saying, seeing the cracks in the system because it's kind of a lost battle against the speed that the world is moving at.
Yes, and I love that you talk about AI because actually, we have the feeling now that for some professions, AI could be replacing us, and that the more we do every day, to fill our agendas, to to fight the volume we have to deal with at work. Actually, so we try to do more, we try to sleep less, we forget to eat. We forget to do some sport because we want to put more things to do in our agendas, but in a way AI will be doing that much better than we do, actually much faster. So where can we come back to be a human, I mean to have a human advantage in this situation? This is really what we want to show you today. There's a solution.
Yeah, and I think we have a lovely comment from June here that's following the
Yes.
conversation. Thank you so much, June. She says, perhaps we should realize that we should do something different before the circumstances force us to, right? And I think you and I, Audrey, have both experienced exactly that.
Yes.
There's a really big learning for me in my own journey. I went through a burnout experience, and it was only that experience that forced me to find something different, to try and thinking differently also. But unfortunately, what we're trying to encourage people to do today is to do that before, right? Before the
Exactly.
circumstances force you to. How
Yes.
amazing
Yes.
would it be to have that conscious, to have that wisdom?
Yes. Yes. And to have to see that something else is possible before burning out or being sick. This is also exactly what, like, in a way, happened to me. I was also like a very good performer in my company, trying to do a good job actually, and I was really loving my job and doing a lot of things, and then I became a mom, so it adds some complexity also to what we do every day. And yes, in a way I was trying to run more, find maybe more complex system to get to still be 100% professional, 100% a mom, like at the same level. But in a way, I was really feeling that I was not able to find the solution, and it was exhausting actually, to a point that, I've been very sick in my life. It was like, a story of cancer, so I don't say that it's like related to that, but being sick just forced me to stop
Yeah.
and to take some perspective and to say, okay, if I really want to live the life I want, should I, go on? Should I just keep doing the same thing? What can I change if I really want to feel that I live the life I want, professionally and personally?
Yes. So I
And this
think
is what we want for you. Sorry, Seb. This is what
yes,
we want for you
it's
today.
exactly
Yeah,
what we want for you, for
yeah.
everybody who's connecting today, because the learning, the conscious that we acquired through those difficult experiences was really the message that we want to share with you today, which is what got you here will not get you there, right? And
Mhm.
you all know that Einstein said that trying to fix the same problem
Mhm.
with the same answers is the definition of insanity.
Of
So
insanity.
yeah, the idea is really to offer something different, so we can find a way to feel more fulfilled in our careers, to be happier in our lives, to have the impact that we really want to create in the people around us, right?
Yes, yes. And this is very something very actually counterintuitive, because actually, what we see in all our clients and in what happened to us too, and what after we were able to change something in our life that made us even more successful, like not performing the same way actually. And this is what we want for you. And actually, what is counterintuitive is that what made you successful until today is maybe the thing, like performing, that will not make you successful anymore. Because I can bet, I'm really sure that the people who inspired you to become the leader you are today, or at the position you are today, were really not people who were not sleeping, who were not having the time to eat, who had to give up on their sport because they didn't, they had to work more. I'm sure that you were inspired by leaders or people who were like full of energy, full of vitality, who were able to be like grounded, who were aware of their impact, and also who were in a way, even if you're not like successful to it like every day, but able to have a personal life as fulfilled as their professional life. I'm sure this is the model you wanted to follow.
Yeah, I think we can all bring that leader in mind, who
Yes.
just shows us how to deal with complexity. And they seem to be doing something right because
Mm,
they have that capacity. They seem to have grown that capacity
mm,
to deal with a fast change, to deal with the complex world we're in. And I remember, Audrey, you told me in one call that we had that we have also this limited thinking that we are limited beings, right? And
mm,
that whatever worked in the past should continue working today, and that we don't really have the capacity to grow that learning. And so
mm.
the message today is also to encourage you to develop all those core competencies, right, that you have, because you can really become um, a better human being, a higher version of yourself to help you deal with um, all the complexity around you.
Yes, yes. I think that this is where we are going to talk to you about the difference between doing a lot, which is like the root of performing. We think a lot. We have like to-do lists, etc., etc., and we try to check all the boxes all the time. So this is the do. This is what we have learned to do from our childhood, and this is what, in a way, worked to get you there. But it won't get you somewhere else, because actually there's the being, and be the human being actually that you all are. This is the real root of leadership. This is how you are when you are with people. This is how you are, who you are when you are creating a relationship. And this is where we want to take you with Seb. Like how our being is very underdeveloped. Actually, we are very we are not asked a lot. Who do you want to be today, for example?
Yeah. Who do you want to become? It's true. We've been so conditioned to develop the doing, to develop the performance, to develop the results. And so we have June here. She's saying that the performing model doesn't allow us to stop. So I think it really also starts there, right? How do you give yourself the permission to have that break? How do you give
Yes.
yourself the permission to pause for that higher dimension of your being to open?
Yeah, I was I was laughing in my head because I was thinking about what about if every morning we would get up and instead, I don't know what you do with your partner, Seb, but for example, I'm asking, for example, my husband, what are you going to do today? But I should change my question actually. Who do you want to be today?
Yes.
And who do I want to be today? Like a good professional, a good sister, maybe, or like a bad one if I want. And
Yeah. Who do you want to be?
this,
How do you want to show up?
yes,
Right. I think this is also something that we both address a lot with our clients, to take that moment in the morning before you start your day to become very conscious of the impact you want to have in your families, in your teams, on the people around you. How do you want to show up as a leader?
yes. And so when we talk about being, we talk about, like, we don't talk about skills anymore. We talk about capacities that we have as a human being. So what is, for example, your capacity to be present with the people? I mean, with the people in a room, for example, but also with yourself. So it could be a capacity to develop, as it could be also the capacity of emotional regulation. I always tell my clients that to be a good leader, and to be able to fully lead a team, the first thing you should do is lead yourself first.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you feel inside, when you are in front of a room or a situation or a stressful project? So, do you react to it? What do you feel inside? Or do you take the time to see what's happening, to stay with your emotion,
Yeah.
and then to give a proper response to what's happening? This
Yeah.
makes a big difference between leaders.
Yeah, I think it's really growing that capacity to create that space between yourself, your instinctive responses, and the situation at hand. Right? How
Mm,
do you manage that? How do you, because when you become aware of those reactive responses, that's when you can adapt your communication, right? And you can come up with a conscious response rather
mm.
than a reactive one.
Yes. And I love that you use the word conscious, because when you work on your leadership and on, leading more than performing, actually, you work a lot on self-conscious, like how much you are aware of yourself first. What is your identity? What is your type of leadership? How do people see you in a room? How do people see you if you're not in the room, for example? And this is how, actually, how much aware you are about yourself. And only that can give you the ability to see what's happening in front of you, to other people in the room, for example, to someone in your team. What about if you're arriving in a room? For example, you have two scenarios. You arrive in a room and you don't know, but someone had, like, I don't know, a very difficult experience in the morning before coming to work, like a personal problem, for example. How much are you able to feel that? And if you feel that, how much are you going to be able to take this new situation into consideration, into the way you're going to lead the entire room, or maybe in the way you're going to have a conversation with that person personally, because you feel that it's necessary for the good of the team and for the good of the person.
Yeah. With that, you know, with all this information that we receive every day that is unexpected, like that situation that you're describing, for example, you really need to lead yourself first. And we have June again. Thank you so much, June, for participating so much to this live. She's saying, amen to leading yourself first, you know, and how much do we forget about that? I think we just wake up in the morning, you know, jump onto our jobs and our lives and our busy lives without really considering how we lead ourselves in all the situations that show up in just one day.
Yes. Faizaila, I love your question. So there's a question in the live, like, how can we know if we are a good leader? I think that the first question, so that is a really great question, but the first question I would ask you, Faisal, is that what is the best quality for you want to see in a leader, actually? And what's the leader you would love to be working with and become that? And so I think that in the work we do with our clients and we want to do with people and with you people in the leadership program we have with Sébastien, where we want to invite you, there's a lot of taking the time to imagine yourself as the best leader you can actually imagine. What's the qualities this leader should have? How would he or she behave in front of people? How would she or he behave in front of a very stressful problem? And how would she or he build his or her relationship with people? It's all about taking the time to imagine that and then fill the gap between where you are today and becoming that person.
Yeah. And we have a little conversation going on here between Faisal and Razan. So Razan is saying, the question is what is your understanding of what a good leader is? And you were explaining how important it is to focus on yourself, right? What is being a good leader for you? And I think this is where everything starts. And I truly feel that once you are able to concentrate on what makes you a good leader, you also stop comparing yourself to all the other leaders around you, right? Because we live in a world that forces comparison so much. So we always feel that, we are not doing enough, or we are simply not being enough because we compare ourselves to another leader that we potentially admire. But we forget to focus on what we bring as leaders that is also so unique, right? And so when you start understanding what it is that you bring, when you understand your leadership type, we worked on that a lot. What is your leadership type? What is your leadership style? How do you communicate? What is the energy you give off when you enter a room? I had a client of mine who said to me, I really want to be respected for my presence, not my title. How amazing was that of him to have that awareness?
Yes.
So it's really that. I think focusing on who you want to be as a leader.
Yes.
On what you think makes you a good leader, forgetting about how the other people are leading.
Yes, and also I think that this is also the good thing about being part of a leadership program with other people, is that you're going to be able to test your impact on people. Actually, how do people see you? What do they want to see more from you? Actually, what are they missing when you're not here? What assumption are they making of you or from you, etc.? And having good conversation with them to break assumption, etc., etc. So it's all about I agree, like 200%, because actually being a leader is also being 200% yourself.
Yes. And so we have Razan's comment here again. Thank you so much, Razan. Good to see you on the live. She says
Yes.
the question is really, are you ready for that transformation, right?
Mm.
And this is also what we want to encourage people to think about, isn't it? Or just to ask themselves, are you ready for that transformation?
Mhm.
Because we were talking about the fact that we don't need more skills,
Mm.
right? And there comes a point in your career, in your life, where you don't need to learn more. You don't need more information, but what you really need is a transformation, like an inner transformation.
Yes, yes, exactly. And this is really true in the way also that it's not a job for everyone. So if you feel that it's calling you to and that you're ready to become more, of course, you can talk to us and enjoy the program. But in another way, I think that, as you say, Seb, like we know how to do things, we can teach you also how to become and be more, but in a way it will be your decision to join, to do the
Yeah,
work, and to be 100% committed to see what's possible if I change things in my life and in the way I want to lead people and I want to be with people. I'm reading what Razan also just
yeah.
writes.
So interesting. Thank you so much. She's talking about how aligned your personal values are with the organization's values where you work. I
Mm,
think that's such a central topic. Is this a question that we take the time, that we pause for long enough to ask ourselves? Am I taking a direction in my life, in my career, in the organization that I work with, to understand whether my core values are aligned with the organization's values? Is my work at the company connected to a bigger cause that aligns with the organization's strategy, or is that misaligned? In which case, I need to do some serious thinking to, evolve into a direction that is more aligned with myself, who I want to be as a leader.
yes. And I think that from what you said, taking the time to be introspective, to break the autopilot mode, as we say that, like the routine, and just take some perspective from what we do every day to see if what we are living professionally and personally also actually is really aligned with what we want. And being a leader is also being able to take some bold decisions and then move to something else. And I love what you've just bring, Razan. Also, I felt something else when I was reading your question, and I mean your comment is that there's also it's also this capacity that we want to develop and to grow into people. Is just like, when can you stop and ask yourself the right questions, actually? And this is a really bold decision too, because when we are under the pressure of performing all the time, stopping and thinking, just that is a very bold decision. It's so difficult to say, okay, yes, we have a lot of things to do, yes, I have like some some money to make, etc., etc., but I want to stop and I want to think.
Yeah. And we have Faisal here. Also, thank you so much for your comments.
Mhm.
He's saying he has a team that wants more responsibility, more growth. And then also, big question, what do you do when you feel that your values are not aligned with those of your manager or with your team? And I think
Mhm.
it's exactly what you were talking about, Audrey, which is growing that capacity to be with discomfort, to address what needs to be addressed, to have those difficult conversations, to understand what your values are, to understand what your team's values are, and to see where do you align, uh, where do you misalign.
Mm.
And I think it's also an opportunity to reframe conflict as an opportunity in these situations, right? So when you have those conversations, you see each other more, you understand each other more, and that's growth, right? Rather than avoiding and assuming, which
Mm.
then starts creating cultures of fear. So when you have those conversations, when you have the courage, to hold them,
Mhm.
to deal with the discomfort and the silences, you create a culture of trust.
Yes, yes, you do, and I really think that it's more difficult, and Faisal, to also answer your question, it's more difficult to get to have hard conversation, maybe with people, if you didn't take the time actually to be 100% sure of your own values and of your boundaries and of what you want actually for the company and for yourself. And just when you are actually deeply convinced of what is like leading yourself in the world, actually, this is when you're going to be able to deal with this discomfort you're talking about, Seb, and have hard conversation and say, okay, this is not okay for me. I know that maybe there's a risk for me to say that out loud, but I have to say that, because if not, I'm not aligned with myself, and I'm not, let's say, I'm not like a good employee to my company, because I'm lying to myself every day. And what if I was always aligned? What if I'm able to have our conversation to make things move in the company? So this is a very, very complete work actually around who you are with people, how bold are you enough to have like hard conversations sometime, stay into discomfort, and stay in the relationship all the time, to get through a solution together.
Yeah, I think that's key. You mentioned it there. It's this capacity to stay in the relationship, which also answers June's question about establishing a healthy feedback culture. So important, in those feedback opportunities. Are you the leader who can give feedback without blame, but especially receive it without resistance? I think that's, what growing your capacity as a leader means.
Yes,
And
yes.
when
And
we get to that point, that's how we build healthy feedback cultures.
this is how we build healthy feedback. And what I love about what June is saying about feedback too is that um, people also, I mean, leaders in company, when you are a leader, you have to make people understand that everyone is a leader in the room. So typically, we think about a leader as a leader in front, the one who is in front of the room, who take all the decision, etc., etc. And then there's like other people, you know, waiting for things to happen sometimes, or like maybe complaining, or etc., etc. But people in the room are also leader in a way. They are leader, what we call in leadership sometimes leader behind, the one who are going to support you, or leader beside, someone who is going to work with you, etc., etc. So when people actually get to understand that depending on the situation you are in, also have like a mission to make things happen, and things grow in the company, they will also give some feedback in a better way, because actually a feedback is not meant to kill someone, let's say, if I can say that way. It's also meant to bring something to the team. And so this is how also you make a good feedback culture in the company, is making people understand that everyone has a leadership role in the room.
Yeah, and that every leader's opinion is valued, right? Because that leader in the front that we see, the typical red driver profile, is the corporate bias, right? It's the only leader that we see. But we've learned together, Audrey, that there are so many different ways of leading. Leading also doesn't mean lead alone, right? You lead with others. And so when you bring your team and people into your leadership, the culture becomes a lot more inclusive, respectful. Right?
Yes, and can you imagine the difference in a room for your team, for your company, if everyone understands and feel that they are all in the same boat, and that they all can have an impact on the result, on the mission, on the strategy? it changes everything. And this is what we learn in this leadership program. We learn to be on the same boat.
Yeah. When it's sinking, and then what to do to save it, right?
Yes. And we hope we don't sink too much.
Maybe we can move on to what we believe it concretely means to lead, right? So when you start really knowing yourself better, when you start being a lot more conscious about how you communicate, when you give feedback, how you receive, how you react when you receive it, what is your impact in a room, what does a room feel when you enter the room, even before you open your mouth. What are the shifts, right, that are created when we do this work?
Yeah. Yes. Well, actually, for example, a first shift could be and is actually from trying to have all the answers. This is what we do when we perform, and this is what we are used to do, having all the answers, to holding the space if we don't know, actually. And in the complexity we are living in, we can't ask anyone to have all the answers all the time. For example, a decision you have to take, you think that you have to take tomorrow. You're super sure that you're going to take that decision, and bam, I don't know, politically or economically, there's a huge difference created during the night. And so you don't have the answer anymore. So how do you hold the space when you don't know? How do you feel comfortable not knowing? How do you engage people helping you to know? That could be that is a first shift, for example.
Yeah, I think we can. I remember from my corporate days when participating in these uncomfortable meetings when you knew that your turn would come and that you would have to say something. So you just come up with something stupid, right? Whatever is okay to say in that moment, but it's really so much more than just participating. Your contribution is so much more important when you know who you are, right? And what it is that you want to contribute. What is the impact that you really want to have?
Yeah, we can also talk about another shift that could be from shifting from doing more, as we were talking a lot at the beginning of the session, like doing more, thinking more, fitting more things in the agenda, to creating actually capacity in others. What's possible if I work differently with other people, and if I know how to give them more responsibility, and if I make them better leaders too? This is really also the job for a good leader. They make people around grow.
Yes. Do they move? Are you a good leader who moves away from control? Are you a good leader who moves away from commanding people to maximize their strengths, to maximize their contribution in the team? When you delegate, delegation is a huge topic for people who are growing in their career. When you delegate, are you delegating a task? Or do you also have the courage to delegate responsibility, to delegate ownership of the entire project?
Yes. Yeah. I was just reading what was in the comments as you were saying that training. Yeah, your Faisal is talking about the direct reports he had at during his first leadership experience. And I think this is also the reason why we are opening this space to grow your leadership, is that actually when you grow into let's say the company ladders or the hierarchy, you get to be trained to leadership just if you join a business school and do an MBA at when you're 40, 45 or something, but actually you never get to learn how to become a real leader. And this is what we want to offer to as many people as possible, to really change this vertical mode of being, of seeing the leadership as someone who commands, who controls, We want people who expand capacity, to expand other people capacity, and make a better world. Actually, this is
Yeah,
what
I
we
think
want
it's
to do.
really an amazing point from Faisal here, who says, he was just catapulted into a position
Mm,
to lead 12 people without any prior
yes,
experience, without prior learning. It's what you're saying. You get promoted, you get to the management position, and then the company offers you a training, but it's already too late. You are already doing that every day. And
yes,
so you have to do all that at the same time.
mm,
What we're
yes.
trying to offer here is something outside of that organization, so you
To
can
support
really
you.
experience,
Yes,
yes, your
yes, to
leadership,
support you.
and ideally explore all the challenges, right, that rise
Yes,
in
yes, and
specific situations.
exactly. And what I read also from what Faisal was writing is that the shift we want for you people is to lead, to stop leading from fear, actually, because this is what happens actually when you are like in a room. It's your first time, or maybe you've been leading for many years, but in a way you still don't believe you are a good leader, so you lead from fear, actually, of
Yeah.
what people are going to think about you, what's the real impact you're having on people, or on the company, or on the project, the institution you're working in. And so we want you to shift from fear to trust, but deep trust of knowing who you are, and knowing that what you're doing there is the best you can do, because you've been working on it. You have like a team that supports you if you want to ask some questions. So this is what we want for you guys, if you work on your leadership with us.
I think when you become aware of those values, those competencies, you become so much more confident as well about your leadership,
Yes,
right? So this,
confident and bold also.
yeah,
Yes, yes. And it's all about, for example, the last shift we could talk about is like also being so grounded that instead of maybe saying yes when actually you want to say no, because being a leader is also being able to say no many times and stay present with this discomfort you're creating into people. Well, it's like shifting from that, not really saying what you want, to a real and grounded self leadership, so strong that actually you're so aligned with what you want and what are your values, that this is just your answer, and then you're responsible for that impact.
yes, exactly. I think it's really moving from, feeling like an imposter, from this imposter syndrome that we talk about so much in the corporate world, from
Yeah.
being a people pleaser. It's true, if we think about it, how many times do we all say yes when we actually want to say no, right? It's
Yes.
to get to that point of alignment with yourself, where you're comfortable with those boundaries, right? And when you become really clear that the last person you're going to betray is you.
Yes, I love that. Well, and actually, what we think we are, I think we are at the end of our
Wrapping
time,
up.
and we don't want to take too much time from you. But um, actually, this is really a work that can happen like in 45 minutes, of course. We are not like offering like something to fix you in an hour or two. And this is why we said we really wanted to create, and this is what we do with our clients. We want to create a space where you can become that leader that you've always wanted to become.
Yeah, a space where you can explore those challenges with a cohort, with a group,
Mhm.
where we build that trust, that trust
Exactly.
of honesty, where you can
Yeah.
really have those conversations.
Yes.
So
So it
I'm
takes
going
time
to,
to build some trust. So this is what we did. Why we designed the program like a 6 months program. This is where we see that we can have a sustainable change with coaching every month, group coaching, personal coaching on one-to-one with me and Seb too, and we love to see people for real too so much with Seb, and we love to have fun so much that we
I
also
think
decided to
proximity makes
offer.
a big difference.
Yes,
So
yes.
just so you know, Audrey, I've just posted the link to the program
Yes.
in the chat for
Yes.
people to have a look at that. You can find the details there. You can book a call with either Audrey or myself to discuss this in more details.
Exactly. And so you have everything. And actually what we want for you is more clarity, more capacity, more alignment, and more impact. So it's not by becoming someone else. Actually, what we want for you is becoming yourself and lead
Becoming
from
more
that.
of yourself.
Yes.
I don't know if Razan is still connected. She's saying, pleasure listening to you both. It was such a pleasure to see you connect. Razan, thank you so much. Thank you for all of you. Thank you, June.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Darun. A lot of people connected. Thanks for your support. It's been amazing. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yes. See you soon. Bye.
Take care.